Israel-Iran conflict deepens, another major power has entered the frame. Not with weapons, but with warnings. Russia is now voicing grave concerns over the consequences of escalating strikes, the safety of its nuclear personnel, and what it calls a world tethering on the edge of catastrophe. Let's break down what Russia is saying, what it has at stake, and why the Bushehr nuclear facility in Iran could become the most dangerous fault line in the Middle East. Iran's only functioning nuclear power plant, Bushehr, is now at the center of global anxiety. Built with Russian assistance, fueled by Russian uranium, and monitored by the IAEA, Bushehr is a civilian power station. It's not enriching uranium, it's not hidden underground, and it was never meant to be a war target. But as Israeli airstrikes edge closer and Iran fires back, Russia is now warning of something worse than a missile exchange. On June 19th, the head of Russia's nuclear agency, Rosatom, publicly warned an Israeli strike on Bushehr could trigger a, quote, Chernobyl-style disaster. That's not rhetoric. The plant sits on the Persian Gulf. A hit could contaminate air and water across the region, impacting millions, especially in Gulf states like Kuwait, the UAE, and Qatar, that rely on desalinated seawater. Some of these countries have already activated emergency contingency plans. This is not just geopolitical, it's personal for Moscow. Over 200 Russian nuclear specialists are currently working inside the Bushehr facility. Vladimir Putin confirmed this week that Israel has given Russia private assurances about the safety of its personnel, but Moscow isn't convinced. Some staff have been discreetly evacuated, the rest remain with emergency extraction protocols on standby.
Мы заключили контракт на строительство еще 2 блоков. Работы идут, и наши специалисты находятся на площадке. Это свыше 200 человек. И мы договорились с руководством Израиля, что будет обеспечена их безопасность.
The Russian president also emphasized that Tehran hasn't asked Moscow for military assistance. In January this year, Russia and Iran signed what they called a comprehensive strategic partnership. It includes military cooperation and intelligence sharing, but critically mentions no mutual defense clause. The Russian president also sidestepped discussions about a potential assassination of Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. But Kremlin sees regime change as a red line, one that would endanger its foothold in Iran and set off unpredictable internal chaos. The collapse of the Iranian system would, in Moscow's calculation, leave it empty-handed. Russia is now openly stepping into the crisis, not with troops, but with sharp, layered warnings. First, environmental catastrophe. Second, regime destabilization. And third, economic disruption. Moscow has invested billions into Iranian energy and infrastructure projects over the last 2 years, including partnerships in gas pipelines and transport corridors designed to bypass Western sanctions. If the Iranian state falters or Bushehr is hit, Russia's strategic depth in the region collapses. Moscow sees Iran as a geopolitical anchor, even more vital than Syria, to simply put it. And if the Iranian regime were to fall, that would be, in Kremlin's words, a serious blow to Russian interests, worse than the fall of Damascus. Putin has now offered to mediate, calling for a diplomatic solution that respects Israeli security concerns while preserving Iran's sovereignty. But there's a problem. Russia's credibility with Israel is limited, frayed by its alignment with Tehran and its invasion of Ukraine. And Washington has little incentive to allow Moscow back into any negotiation room. So far, no one's taken Russia up on that offer. Moscow is walking a tightrope. It wants to protect its assets, signal strength, and avoid direct confrontation, while deterring both Israel and the United States from deepening the war. Russian diplomats are now explicitly warning Washington: stay out militarily or face what they call unpredictable consequences. Whether this is deterrence, desperation, or both, the message from Moscow is clear. This isn't just an Iran-Israel fight anymore. It's now a global security equation with radioactive stakes, and Russia, whether anyone wants it or not, is back in the game.